Today, we're going to be talking about money mindset and how it can impact or limit your ability for financial success. Hi, welcome to another episode of the Mental Health Break podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Nafisa Sekandari. I have something exciting to share with you. Over the past several months, I've been developing a brand new 10-week coaching program designed to help women break free from chronic stress, anxiety, overwhelm, and emotional exhaustion by addressing the root causes and not just the symptoms. To celebrate the launch, I'm offering 5 scholarship opportunities for women who are ready to create meaningful change in their lives, but may need additional support to make the investment possible. If you've been struggling with anxiety, feeling stuck, and constantly overwhelmed, or finding yourself trapped in cycles of worry and stress, I invite you to schedule a free consultation call to see if you're a good fit for the program and whether you qualify for one of these scholarship opportunities. You can learn more and apply by visiting drsekandari.com. I would love the opportunity to support you on your journey towards greater peace, confidence, and emotional well-being. Where did you get your money mindset? I have a distinct memory of being a very young child and being accused of stealing money from somebody's purse. What I didn't realize at the time was that they were trying to stop my hiccups, but I didn't understand that, and I just started crying. I didn't like being accused of taking somebody's money, and then I also realized how important it was to be very upfront and honest about money, to never, ever be accused of wrongdoing or handling money in an inappropriate way. I also have another distinct memory of having savings. My allowance, they would give us money for every birthday, for every celebration, every holiday. And what my parents would do is they would put the money in a bank. And so I grew up in Afghanistan where at that time, I'm assuming all banks actually kept money in a bank. Nowadays, there isn't a lot of money in banks, but at that time, the money was actually kept in a bank. And it was during the war, it was during the Russian war. And I remember hearing that the bank was bombed and it got looted. So all the money was stolen from the bank. And I was devastated. I was so sad that my money could easily be taken by the enemy, basically, by people that were not fighting for us or supporting us. And so it was devastating that somebody else had access to my money. And I remember at that age thinking, I don't want anybody to have my money, so I'm going to spend it and spend it fast so nobody could ever take it from me. And what proceeded was me just every time I would get any kind of money, the idea of savings I didn't want to save any money. I wanted to just spend it as fast as I could so nobody else could have it. So I would go and spend it on cookies, cakes. We would throw these elaborate parties for our dolls. And so I just wanted to spend my money. I didn't want it anywhere near me. And then I realized when I was in college that I continued to have that same mentality where as soon as I got money, I would spend it. Where my sister, she always had money. She always had money to buy nice cars, nice stuff. She would save her money. She was very frugal with her money, but I just wanted to spend it all. And so it just showed me that we're programmed at a very young age. There's something that happens to us at a pivotal moment in our lives where we adopt certain thoughts and beliefs and we believe that that is to be true. And we operate under that same faulty programming until we realize it and then we change it. So for July, I wanted to talk about money anxiety, our mindset about money, our limiting beliefs about money, our fears about money, our obsession about money. Some people are so driven by money that they don't even stop to actually enjoy their life. And so they make money their master. Instead of making money work for them, they work so hard for money. And so I wanted to have that discussion, or that's the theme of the Happiness Project for the month of July, because I realized that in July, we're spending a lot of money on our vacations, on our travels, some people are doing renovations. Some people might move during this time so that they can not disrupt the school cycle when school starts in September. And so a lot of people are focused on money at this time. And so I wanted to address that. I will have 2 important discussions, podcast interviews with people that are going to be talking about the anxiety around money, manifesting money, changing our mindset about money. And this will be coming up throughout this month. I will release those 2 podcast interviews coming up. So look for those. But for now, I just wanted to kind of let you know that that's what I'm focusing on this month. And what really brought it up for me is that last month, I had to make a big financial decision, and I realized that I don't like to spend money now. It's so funny how in my 20s, all I wanted to do was spend money. And now I'm like very anxious about it. I want to hold on to it. And I don't think I'm alone just because of the state of the world. People are very anxious about the future. People are very anxious about what money is even going to look like. And I was reading this book by Ken Honda. He has written this book called Happy Money. And he actually makes you kind of look through your own mindset and where did you get your money beliefs from? And are you making happy money or sad, depressed, desperate money or angry money where you're stealing from people or you're making money in a way that's not making you feel good. Maybe you're cheating people. And so that money is never going to feel good in your wallet or in your bank account. And the goal is to make happy money. And one of the best ways to cleanse your money is to donate it. And that is our belief too. Religiously, culturally, that's my belief. So whenever you get any good news or a lot of money coming your way, you always want to donate. You want to have both hands open so that you're receiving with this hand and you're giving with this hand. Because for a long time, especially, I realized my fears about money. It's like, I'm all about, okay, give it to me. I'm willing to receive, but I was holding on here. And so that blocks the flow and energy of money. And I want the energy of money to just come and go. Like you're receiving it with this hand and happily giving it away. And one thing that Ken Honda talks about is saying arigato to the money, like thank you every time, but basically saying arigato to receiving the money and then arigato to giving the money. It's like Tupac said, it feels good to put money in the mailbox. And it does feel good to be able to pay your taxes, to be able to pay your rent, to pay for food, and to be able to be grateful for the ability to do that. And when we have that mindset, we're not living in fear, we're living in gratitude and having an abundance mindset. So all of this, it's not normal for me. This is stuff I have to learn. This is stuff I have to be consciously aware of because my anxiety automatically makes me go towards a lack mindset instead of an abundant mindset. And maybe this is because my parents were immigrants. We were immigrants. We all came to this country. We barely had any money. We came here, whatever money we had, let's say we had 30,000 equivalent of dollars from Afghan money. And then we come here and it all comes to like 5,000 American money, the way that the conversion rate works. So we didn't have a lot of money coming here. And my parents worked very, very hard, 2 to 3 jobs just to help us and not getting any government assistance, not getting any support and working really hard to make sure that they were taking care of their 4 kids. And despite all of these obstacles, they managed to provide a really good life for us. Had our own home, had our cars. We all had an opportunity to go to college. So I'm very, very grateful for their hard work and sacrifice. But at the same time, I do believe that in my mind, I had this perception that there wasn't enough money to go around and everybody had to just hoard or hold on to whatever they had, especially after my money was bombed in a bank and all taken. So there's a lot that after reading this book and lately paying attention and having to make this big financial decision last month, it just has made me think a lot about my own mindset. And I thought, I'm sure I'm not alone because this mindset has limited me in so many ways. Just the anxiety alone has held me back, but I've never been driven by making a lot of money. So I never would pursue jobs that might give me better opportunities. Part of that was anxiety where I didn't want to put myself out there. But part of that was also maybe I'm not worthy of a lot of money. Maybe I don't deserve to have that much money. And there are some people that they might have a ceiling of $100,000 and they get a job where they make $150,000. Well, somehow they'll sabotage themselves to keep themselves at that ceiling of $100,000 because they're just not comfortable with more money coming their way. And as long as we have that limiting belief, as long as we have these fears around money, we are holding ourselves back. So that's the conversation that I'm having with myself and trying to help myself overcome and get more comfortable with having an expansive, abundant view of money. But I also wanted that to be a theme for all of us to kind of consider and think about for this month. Yeah, whenever I make big decisions, whenever like I said before, I would spend all of my money, but now as soon as I have to make any kind of purchases, I immediately have buyer's remorse. And that is part of OCD. There are people that tend to hoard money. People that have OCD, they tend to hoard money. They have a very difficult time parting with their money. And so I don't want to be rigid about that. The minute you have awareness and you're able to become more mentally flexible about something, you should definitely focus on that, because you don't want to have this black or white thinking that it's either I'm poor or I'm rich. There's no in between. There are people that have very little that are way happier than the people that are the richest. So it's not about the money. And I like that Ken Honda talks about, like, before we actually had a tangential view of money, like we would actually get the dollar bills or feel them in our hands. Now we hardly ever see the actual bills. It's all in credit cards or Bitcoin or electronic deposits in our accounts. So it's not the actual physical bills that we're seeking, but we're working towards the concept of money and what that's going to look like, the numbers in our bank account. But at the end of the day, money is just energy. And it doesn't care if you're a good person or a bad person. It'll be attracted to you if you're aligned with that energetic energy of money. So if you're hoarding money, you're blocking that energy, because you're blocking the flow of money coming and going, because it's coming in, but you might also be repelling it at the same time. So if you're looking at money as energy, so one thing that Ken was talking about was, instead of looking at money like rain, like it's a drought, then you're going to have a lot of anxiety about it. Like all of a sudden there is no money. So you're going to savor every dollar you have. Or if you're looking at it like, just give me a lot of money, like people that get a windfall or people that get a big inheritance, it becomes a flood. So they're not prepared for the flooding. And so that also can be destructive. So you don't want that either. You want to have, I think he said something like, you want money to be like air, where it's always there. You just have to take a breath in or just be energetically aligned with it. And so I never realized that there was so much involved with our mindset around money. And that's why this was such an interesting topic for me to take on. And I know that I'm the type of person that doesn't like debt. I don't like to be in debt. I don't like to spend above my means. I don't like to spend money that I don't have. But that's not how the rich operate, right? Like the rich actually take out millions of dollars worth of loans and live off of that, instead of actually having money or spending their own money, where they invested in other things. I don't want to do that either. So there has to be a better happy medium, but there is a lot involved around the concept and the thinking about money. And I want to live in a way that I love giving in charity. I love donating. My goal is to make enough money so that I can help a lot of people. So when I'm thinking about, I want abundance, I want a lot of money coming my way, it's not that I want all these fancy cars or expensive jewelry and expensive bags or whatever. I've never been into any of that. I'm more into experiences, travel, doing the financial freedom, time freedom, not having any debt, not having somebody breathing down my neck demanding their payments. So my goal of actually one day, hopefully, to be able to live off of 10% and donate 90%. So if I'm making $1 million, living off of 10% is very easy. And it's very easy to donate 90% at that level, right? So imagine how much impact you can have if you live that way. So it's not a greedy thing where I just want to hoard all this money. It's how much impact can I have? How many people can I help if I have millions of dollars? And so attracting abundance into your life can be really a positive thing if you look at it in terms of how can I help people? I truly, truly think that it's possible to live off of 10% if I'm making a lot of money and focused on so many different ways that I can help people with the drinking water, with education, with just even giving away free mental health services. When you have a lot, you can do so much more. So that's how I'm trying to look at it, where before I did grow up with the mentality that only people that do bad things have a lot of money. And that's not a true statement. There are ways for you to have a lot of money in a very healthy, positive way, especially if you're energetically aligned with happy money coming your way. We call it halal money, money that you've earned, where you've made people's lives better, where you've made people happy and they're happy to give you that money. And that money has energy behind it, and that makes you feel good. So then you turn around and you help a lot of other people. And that's the energy, the positive flow just keeps going and going. And I know, like, during the happiness project, we're focusing on creating more happiness. And I know money's not going to make you happier, because if it did, all of these celebrities, that's all they've dreamt of having a lot of money to make themselves happy. But then they reach that pinnacle and they're not happy. There's so much sadness and people taking their own lives, even though they have everything. So it's not money that's making you happy. And money doesn't make you a good person or a bad person. Money just really reveals who you truly are. So if you're a miserable person currently, you won't become a happy person once you have more money. That's a mindset issue that needs to be taken care of and addressed separate from money, because we're putting a lot of our happiness and hopes on getting tangible material goods. And material goods can only make you happy for a little bit. You have to genuinely be happy on the inside in order to actually be appreciative. And the way to be appreciative is to be grateful. So be grateful for exactly where you are right now. Maybe you're struggling financially, but if you look down, there might be people that even have less than you do. There are people around the world that have very little. They might even have as little as a suitcase worth of stuff, where you have a house. You might have way more stuff than somebody else might, but you might not have what you want, but you have to still be grateful for the place that you are, because it could also always be worse. But be grateful now so that you can be blessed with more. It's like I always try to teach my daughter that if you can't be happy with the little things I'm giving you, I'm not going to want to give you more. And I feel like that's how it is with just abundance. If you're not going to be grateful with the little bit that you have, why would you earn more? You might actually repel more because you're just not grateful. So gratitude is definitely the place to start. Always start with gratitude for where we are with our health, with our wealth, with our family. And like I said, that doesn't mean that our life is perfect, but it's by being grateful that we're going to notice a lot of perfection in our lives. It might not be where we want to be, but we can hope more because we are so grateful right now. And we hopefully will attract more to us because of our gratitude. So this month, I just want to focus on that. And I want you to ask yourself, do you have anxiety around money? And where do you think it came from? Where did that anxiety came from for you? And this is a really good time to kind of write down, what is your mindset about money? Like, I always thought, I knew about the bank being robbed and the stealing the money, that I knew that impacted me growing up. And I had a certain understanding about money and just being immigrants and having to really live below our means. All of that has shaped who I am. But I didn't know I had all this anxiety around it. I didn't know how deep it went, and I didn't know how much I've been repelling money all of this time because of my fears. Like I said, I'm very good about donating money, but I don't want to have fear or anxiety around donating. I want to have a positive outlook of being grateful when it's coming and being grateful when it's going. Like, if it's going to go help people, I'm happy. Paying my bills, I'm happy that I'm able to do that and to be less stressed and less anxious around money. So how about you? Write all this down for yourself. This is a really good time to reflect and see how money's been impacting you and whether you're actually blocking your ability to make more money, or maybe you have a very abundant life. What do you think is contributing to that? When did you make that decision to be more abundant and have a different mindset around money? These are all really good things to reflect on and think about. And also to reflect on, where are your limiting beliefs coming from? How old were you when you learned some of these limiting beliefs? Where did they come from? Did they come from you? Did they come from watching somebody? Did they come from listening to your parents argue about money? These are all things to write down, and then write down, what changes do you think you need to make to increase more abundance in your life and calm that anxiety around money and calm your mentality around money. So I think it'll be a good discussion. I'm really excited about my guests that I'm going to be interviewing to learn more about how epigenetics, for example, impacts our ability and our thoughts and beliefs around money. Epigenetics is basically just the memory that we pass down from generation to generation. So maybe my grandparents had a certain beliefs about money, and that just generationally came down and impacted me, because we pass these on in our genes and our cells. And so, yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be very interesting. So stay tuned. Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow and subscribe to the Mental Health Break podcast. It would really help us get discovered by others if you do. And now you can text us directly and share your thoughts with us about this episode. Until next time.